the usual. You first.
Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of the Casual MMA Podcast. I am Anthony, and I have my co-host here, Umer. And today we're going to talk about our previous fight card, which was Blaydes versus Daukaus, the fight night. And we're also going to talk about UFC 273. So without further ado, Umer, what did you think about Blaydes versus Daukaus?
Yeah, I was really impressed with Curtis Blaydes' performance. I thought it was really surprising to see him, the wrestler, knock out a striker like Chris Daukaus.
I know that especially last week, sorry to cut you off. I know that especially last week, we talked a lot of smack, a lot of shit about Curtis Blaydes, and he shut us both up.
For sure. He showed that kind of striking in the JDS fight, and I thought I didn't think much of it because JDS was a washed opponent. So I thought I didn't really think much of it, but seeing him knock out an up-and-coming heavyweight like Daukaus, I was pretty impressed with him, and it shows that he's not the same Curtis Blaydes who fought Francis Ngannou or Derek Lewis. He's really changed, and I think if he fought either of those guys again, he'd give them a really tough test. Especially
we saw that back and forth on Twitter with where I think Brett Okamoto was kind of referencing that with Curtis knocking out Chris, that he was like Curtis and Ngannou Blaydes. And then I believe Francis replied saying, I can wrestle too now. And I really would like to see that matchup of how Blaydes would approach wrestling Ngannou, because, we've never seen somebody as overpowering as Ngannou. And Blaydes is a very accomplished wrestler. We've seen in the UFC time and time again, he says what he's going to do. Going to take you down, and he's going to smother you, and that's exactly what he does. So with Curtis now fighting like this, he's put himself up there as a good contender.
Right. I think he should get a top 5 or top 3 opponent now. I think these should be the next 3 opponents for him. I think it should be either Tai Tuivasa, Tom Aspinall, or Cyril Gane. He's definitely proved himself. He's young and hungry, and he would give Ngannou a tough test if Ngannou still wants to fight in the UFC.
Yeah, I agree. I really thought we were going to see the same Curtis Blaydes, and I was a little skeptical that we were going to see, he was going to turn into, a Corey Anderson, where he was successful in the UFC, but just he wasn't attracting the right people, so he was just going to go to a place where he felt he was better wanted. But I'm glad to see Curtis doing so well. It feels so weird since we talked so much shit about him to the point where you didn't even want to watch the fight because we knew it was Curtis Blaydes fighting.
Yeah, I think that was just you, though. I think that was just
you said you didn't. You said you didn't want to watch it.
No,
you said you weren't going to watch it. Everybody, go back to last week. We can review the footage.
But you're the one saying
I talked a lot of shit about Curtis. I will not even stray away. I talked shit about Curtis, so much dirt on him. I just didn't enjoy the way he was fighting, but man, he showed out to me. He said, "All right, Anthony, I'm going to show you what I'm made of." And he definitely showed us what he's made of. And then in our co-main event, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think the reason he became more of a striker is because if you saw his fight against Alexander Volkov and how boring that performance was, after Curtis beat Volkov, Dana was really angry about his performance. Curtis found out how the game actually works, where you can't just lay and pray on an opponent and expect to get a title shot. You have to do something exciting. It doesn't even have to be a knockout. It could be a submission. You got to finish the opponent in an exciting manner. And I think Curtis now knows that, and I think he's going to wrestle less and maybe strike more.
And it's even like that. You don't have to finish them, but if you're going to fight and if you're going to wrestle and try to smother them, you got to make it exciting, because a referee's not going to stop it if you're obviously just advancing positions and you're throwing your little baby punches here and there, doing your classic smother, but they want to see something exciting. We kind of saw it in the beginning with I believe it was Glover versus Jan. And the way that when we watched Glover wrestle Jan, it was something kind of different where he was smothering, but it was so interesting to see the way like his Brazilian wrestling incorporated into Jan. It was just like dirty tactics, trying to smother Jan's face, pulling his head up into his chest, cutting off his breathing. Like that was fun to watch. And so with Curtis, I didn't really experience that before. Sorry. And then that was pretty much it.
No, it's okay. I think the reason Glover's performance was so exciting is he wasn't just laying and praying on them. He was dominating them from beginning to end and finishing them. If you saw his fight with Thiago Santos, that fight was more exciting than Thiago's last fight against Magomed Ankalaev, where they were just standing there and staring at each other. He was dominating him. He was finishing him. He was doing those two things. It gives him it makes Dana want to see them fight for a title.
I completely agree. Yeah, and it's good to see like the boring fighters that we always thought were boring are like becoming more advanced in the mixed martial arts, and we're seeing them be more complete fighters and getting this done and making the fights more exciting. So it's really fun to watch. But let's move on to the co-main. The co-main, we had Joanne Calder. Oh, I keep saying Joanne Calder, but it's Joanne Wood now. Joanne Wood and Alexa Grasso. Just want to say, as a straight male, Alexa Grasso, absolutely gorgeous. Fine young lady she is. But submitted Joanne, and looks like Alexa's making a statement for the flyweights in the flyweight division, and looking like she want to go challenge Valentina at some point.
Yeah. What I like about Alexa Grasso compared to the other girls is she really knows how to box. She has very good footwork, good distance, and her hands are really fast. It's pretty weird how even though she's a boxer, she doesn't have most of her wins are by submission. But I really like her style, and I kind of want to see her use her hands more to get those knockouts, to get the fans more exciting rather than doing submissions.
Yeah, I know with the flyweight division, with it being so, scarce in talent trying to throw at Valentina, I don't see why the UFC wouldn't push her, even if it's just like 2 more wins in the flyweight division. Because I can tell you right now, I know for UFC 275, Valentina is fighting somebody, and I really don't know much about that fighter. I think her name is, I gotta check. It's, I don't even know her name, but that's kind of what it's been like for Valentina now. She's just taken out the whole division. So like we get these people who are like maybe their professional records like single-digit wins, and just maybe a couple of losses, but it's nothing that Valentina is probably surprised about. But I would really like to see Alexa grow in the flyweight division, because we both think that she's very capable of being an elite fighter.
And the thing with women's divisions is that women's MMA started 10 years ago, so there aren't as many competitors as there are in the men's divisions. So we need a few more years for the women's divisions to develop, so it can be really stacked, like the bantamweight division is, or featherweight division. We need more contenders like Alexa Grasso to fight for the belt against Valentina.
I agree. I don't even think the featherweight division at 145 has. I don't even think we have there's a top 15. There may be a top 10, but I don't think 15 fighters, which is just crazy. And okay, we can move on to the next fight after, which was Matt Brown and Bryan Barberena. I gotta say, Matt Brown, Bryan Barberena. I was a big fan of Bryan Barberena ever since his fight with Vicente Luque, one of my favorite fights I watched in the past few years. And Matt Brown, he's a dog, he's been in the UFC for so long, and it's a good fight to have, to throw in, I guess, in your main card. Nothing really gonna, set precedents or make moves in the division of welterweights. It's not really making big headway, but good fight overall.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I didn't really watch the fight. I don't know much about Matt Brown. I know he's a veteran of the game. I just he had a good finish, right? He had a good win.
No, Matt Brown lost. It was a
Shit.
decision. Yeah, Matt Brown lost because Bryan Barberena, even though he's maybe not a ranked fight, I don't think Bryan's ranked because he's lost a couple of bad ones. But I really like his fighting. He's a dog. He almost landed, I think, a total of 200 strikes on Matt, but Matt had about like 5 or something takedowns. And obviously, the next fight after we talk about is the fight that we were probably most excited for.
Yes.
And so we can just honestly get right into it because I'm pretty excited. And that was our next fight was the flyweight division, which was Askar Askarov and Kai Kara-France. So I'll let you go ahead and take it. Talk. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I got really excited watching this fight. It was really good. It was the number one. It was for the belt. Who gets the next title shot? And it was so competitive between the two. Both of them had their own game plans against each other. Both of them had very different styles. They both had to find different ways to beat them. And I'm so impressed with Kai Kara-France because you can tell the way he was fighting. He was really ready for this fight. He wasn't leg kicking as much he usually does, and he was mostly boxing Askar Askarov as you should against a grappler. Because the more you leg kick against a grappler, the more likely they'll catch that leg and take you down. So Kai Kara-France played a very careful fight against Askar Askarov, and he was just piecing him apart.
In the flyweight division. Yeah, in the flyweight division, it was like one of the more technical fights you'll ever really see. Super technical, and I mean with Askar Askarov, we knew that takedowns, wrestling was going to be the game plan because it's just we knew it was superior to Kai's. But I mean, I think Kai must have stuffed, I think, over 10 takedowns of Askar's. I think Askar went for at least 12 or 13 takedowns. It was insane to see. He landed a couple, took him down a couple times, had a good decent amount of control, nothing too crazy. But yeah, Kai did his best, and that was one of his best performances against a guy who was probably one of his toughest tests. Yeah,
for sure. I think Askar Askarov is going to come back. The man was undefeated before the fight. He was a big prospect in the flyweight division, and he didn't even get finished by Kai Kara-France. He just simply lost by decision. The fight was it was 1-1 going into the third round, and the third round was, in my opinion, up in the air. But most people say that Kai Kara-France won it. So Askar Askarov put up a good fight against France, and I think we're gonna eventually see Askar fight for the title.
I think so too, and it's really nice to see the flyweight division become so deep now, because there's even I know Kai Kara-France, he hasn't been, he's not on a big win streak. I think he's only on a 3-win streak. He lost to Brandon Royval, who's also like a sneaky, catalyst in the flyweight division, who just needs to get on a good run. And then he also lost to Moreno, I believe, and he did lose to Moreno. So and now Kai's showing us he's like, I've lost to these good fighters, but I'm also, one of the best in the division. And so he's proven that now he's ranked 2 now, I believe, ranked 2, obviously Moreno's 1 and Figgy champ. So I really would be interested to see how a Kai Kara-France Figgy fight would pan out. But I don't know if Kai is going to jump over Brandon Moreno. I still feel Brandon Moreno earned and has deserved that title shot continuously.
Yeah, actually, Deiveson Figueiredo tweeted that he actually wants to fight Kai Kara-France instead because according to him, Moreno put racist Instagram posts on Deiveson Figueiredo, calling him a monkey and stuff. So because of that, he's going to give France the next title shot. But Moreno is saying that that's all false, and that they're planning to fight Figueiredo in July.
We've seen time and time again through all of their fights, all 3 of their fights. Figueiredo has been trying his hardest to create some sort of drama, some beef, some anything. Just to be angry. I don't know if it doesn't seem more like it's, PR or marketing standpoint, because really nobody cares about that shit. Like Figgy's been saying it, but everybody's like, you know what? You guys are both great fighters. We care about the fucking fight. We don't care about the beef. So like the beef that he started, really, I can guarantee everybody's forgotten that shit. And because I can't even tell you what like shit he was trying to start. Some shit with Cejudo, all these other things. He's trying to start all these beefs because he's trying to play McGregor style or something, but it's just not working.
I feel like Cejudo's promoting this stupid beef from Deiveson Figueiredo. Ever since
I don't know when Henry's gonna stop, man. I don't know when Henry's gonna stop. I don't think Dana's giving him another fight. I really don't think it.
You don't think Cejudo's gonna get a fight?
I don't think Cejudo's coming back.
Oh yeah, of course, dude. For some reason, Cejudo has a belief in his mind that he's worth over $1 million. Like, I don't know why he thinks that. He has less than 1 million followers. His wins aren't that good. 2 of them are early stoppages. One is against Mariah, which aged poorly, and the other is a split decision win.
And it's like, don't get it twisted. I love watching Cejudo fight. Think he's a great fighter, but I firmly believe he thinks he's box office, and it's okay to think that way because you're a great fighter. You've triple C, triple champion, whatever. But nobody's really, I guess, in all of casual fans, because we're the casual MMA podcast,
right.
and general UFC fans. Nobody's going, oh my gosh, I want to see Henry Cejudo fight. I want to see Henry Cejudo fight.
Bro.
Nobody's saying that. I can tell you right now, Henry, I'm not trying to shit on you. Nobody's saying that.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why Cejudo thinks he deserves the pay. I think what Cejudo should do is he's only coming back if the money's right. But Henry, like, Dana is not giving you that money. He's not going to give you that much money. I think he should fight. So Dana says that if Henry wants to fight for the featherweight title, he should fight for the bantamweight title first, then fight for the featherweight title. So if Henry really wants it, he should fight Peter Yan, and if he beats Peter Yan, which is a tough task, then fight Volkanovski, because you're never going to get the featherweight title shot instantly like GSP.
Is Henry cornering Peter this weekend?
Oh hell no, bro! That was all jokes.
Yeah, I don't know if O'Malley was going to do it. He wanted to.
Yeah. What's happening is I think I saw Jan's Instagram post that he was an American top team. I think he's gonna get cornered by one of the ATT guys.
Yeah, maybe like Mike Brown or somebody over there. But and even speaking from like a diehard UFC fan perspective, like myself, I don't think Henry won the second fight against DJ, and people wanted to see a third fight with him and DJ, and because we saw first fight DJ finishes him, second fight DJ, it was really close, and Demetrius didn't really care because he was like, I'm leaving the UFC because nobody loves watching me fight. Yeah,
I think so the third fight couldn't happen, not because of Henry, I think it's because of DJ. And one thing I wanted to say that I forgot in my head. I forgot. Oh, damn, I forgot. Oh yeah. I want to say that when Henry beat Dominic Cruz and TJ Dillashaw, they were both early stoppages. Like, I don't know how he's proud of that. It's like, when you beat someone, you want the guy who's beaten to believe you beat them. So Dominic Cruz and TJ Dillashaw, they don't believe that they lost to Henry. And I think that I can tell you this.
I think from realistic standpoint, Henry was gonna win both fights, no doubt. Mm-hmm. Henry swarmed TJ in the first. Go ahead.
I remember what I want to say. About the split decision win against Demetrius Johnson. What I didn't watch the fight because I wasn't a fan back then. But what I heard was that Henry's ankle or leg was fucked up the first round, and he still fought through it and managed to get a split decision win against DJ. So what I think is that
I give him props for that, but
what I think is that if that leg wasn't injured, maybe, just maybe, he could have finished DJ.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. But going back to present, I think Henry would have finished TJ. I don't think TJ would have recovered from the onslaught that Henry was putting on him. And then with Dom, he was going to get finished too.
Mm-hmm.
He sent a knee straight into his mouth, like straight down his esophagus. And he was going to get finished, I think, within the next 10 seconds. But, Keith Peterson was on that alcohol and the cigs that day. So we didn't get to see that happen.
Yeah. Well, what I want to say about Henry is, like, even though he's retired, I really like the new position he's in now. He has his own gym at Fight Ready. He's coaching these fighters in a really different way. He's saying how they're using science, engineering, which is really cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he has the podcast with Shmo, which I'm a huge fan of. I love watching it. So I kind of like, even though Henry's retired, he's still very involved in the MMA community. And I just like seeing that, because guys like DJ and Max Holloway, they're never ever involved in the MMA community. They're both like streaming games. And I just like Henry.
Right, yeah.
Involved.
And I think it's also because I think at any point Henry can come back. It's not that it's obviously the only thing that's really holding him back is just the pay. He wants to be paid big. He wants to be paid like he's worth. But now being out for so long, I don't think he would get paid this like he thinks he would be. When he first retired, I could see the UFC bringing him back for a big pay. But that was like when he just retired. Now that it's been, I think it's almost been more than a year, right?
Yeah, 2 years.
So, I mean, I don't see Cejudo coming back. Like, it's not GSP. You're not GSP. You just stop it.
You ain't Conor either.
Yeah, you're not. And it's tough, but it's sorry. They just did it better, and it's just how it goes.
Yeah. Do you think after Usman versus Leon, if Usman beats Leon, Conor is gonna fight for the 170 belt?
Absolutely not. I would really hate to see it. And if Dana, Sean Shelby, Hunter, if they do that, I would be so upset. Like, I get it. I get what they're doing, but I feel like, I hope casuals, please let me know. Like, if you guys really want to see McGregor come back off 2 losses, hasn't won in the welterweight division since what? 2019, since he fought Cowboy?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. If you guys want to see that, please let us know in the comments, because I want to hear what you guys think. I personally think it should not happen.
No, I agree with you for sure. I don't think it should happen at all. But Dana says when he was asked that question, he didn't say no. He said it might happen. And Henry, who's very close with Usman, is saying Usman wants that money fight. Usman wants a money fight badly. He's tired of these. I can tell you this.
If Usman wins, then it's very likely they're going to do it. But if Leon wins, they're not going to do it. Absolutely not. Like 0% chance if Leon wins. Because you want a guy that you can market, and you could have that hype, have that all that pay. But Leon's not that right now.
Leon does not have that at all. Leon doesn't have that at all. If Leon wins, he wants he said that he might want a third fight with Usman, and dude,
if Leon wins, Usman definitely deserves an immediate rematch. He's earned that.
Yeah.
He's number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world, so he's definitely earned that. I definitely respect Usman. I think he's one of, if probably not at the end of his career, probably say he's the greatest welterweight of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's very, very could easily say that. But the thing is, the people he's fought, he hasn't fought a diverse set of people as champ. He's fought 3.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. He's had like 5 defenses, but he's fought 3 people.
True. I think he needs more numbers, just like GSP, because GSP defended 13 times.
Exactly.
In a row.
It's so tough.
I don't think Usman's gonna beat that at all, especially with somebody like fucking Chimaev coming up. Like, that's the greatest prospect in MMA history. So I don't. It's a very.
Let's do this. We'll wrap up the last 2 fights real quick, because we had Magny versus Max Griffin. Neil Magny, great to see him win.
Yeah.
Great fighter. He's on a really nice win streak now, so I'm really hoping to see him fight somebody higher ranked. And then for the first fight of the main card, that was Mark Diakiese, and then I can't. I'm not even gonna try to say this guy's name. Borshchev.
Yeah.
Decent fight. Not too much going on. Mark was just kind of going for a lot of takedowns, not a lot of striking. But let's just wrap it up. Let's go right for UFC 273 because
wait.
This card is massive.
I want to talk about the Mark Diakiese fight.
Really?
I was really excited. I was really excited for that fight. It was there was one big prospect, the Russian guy, and Mark Diakiese. He's also known to be
he's kind of a veteran now.
Striker.
Yeah, crazy good striker, and now he's been fighting in the UFC since 2016. Had a couple bad losses, had a couple good wins.
Yeah.
So for the prospect, it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think I was expecting to be an all-out war, an all-out striking war, like Riddell versus Fiziev. I was expecting fight of the night, but it was so weird seeing Mark Diakiese grapple the Russian guy for the entire fight because he's known as a striker and he's English too. English people don't really grapple, so it was weird seeing that. I think maybe he did that because he trains at the same gym as Chimaev, so maybe he was influenced by that. But yeah, that was it was such a strange performance from Mark. I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it seems like Mark can only beat the unranked fighters because he's lost to Rafael Alves, he's lost to Fiziev, he's lost to Nazrat Hakparas, I think, and he's lost to Dan as well. He's lost to Dan when Dan was still fighting a lightweight. So for the prospect, it's pretty awful to lose to Mark like that because really Mark hasn't really beaten anybody of like big time name. So not the best way, but he probably didn't expect Mark to just wrestle.
Yeah, he's just a gatekeeper, bro, for the unranked guys. Yeah, that's kind of like what he's known for now, unfortunately. Which sucks because he was a prospect back in his day. And this just happens to some fighters where where you go from prospect to being a gatekeeper, and that's just the reality.
All right, and now let's go right into UFC 273, one of the most anticipated, biggest cards of the year.
Yeah, I can't wait for this card, man. It has
thank goodness that because I know that Nasser Dean he just he pulled out. Yeah, he pulled out, and I know they just found a replacement for Kelvin. So good to see that fight still on. And so I don't know much about who was the late replacement. I know they found a replacement.
I know him a little bit. I researched him today. His name is Driskus. He's a South African fighter, and I was looking at his record. It's 16-2, and he has like 9 submission wins and 7 knockout wins. So he has all his fights ending by finish, even the 2 losses.
It's going to be a good fight because I really want to see, like, Kelvin's a really good guy. And I mean, you're talking about like, going through the gauntlet. He's fought the gauntlet at middleweight. He's fought like all the top contenders there is to fight.
Yeah.
He's like, go ahead.
He's like the RDA of the middleweight division. He's fought.
Yeah, I mean, he's fought the old generation too. He fought the old generation, and he's had to come against this new generation. He fought Weidman. He fought, obviously he knocked out Bisping bad. I think won a decision against Jacare, and then he beat Ian Heinisch recently. Ian Heinisch, he's a decent prospect. But, obviously Kelvin lost to Cannonier, Whitaker, Darren, Izzy. So it's been rough for Kelvin recently, but really want to see him win.
Yeah, it has been rough for him. But now Kelvin is going to train with Henry Cejudo. So maybe his MMA career will turn a different way. And yeah, this is his test. This is where if this is his last chance to prove if he can still fight for the belt. If he loses to this guy in Henry Cejudo's new fight ready gym, then I think it's just like, it's over, Kelvin.
Yeah, I agree. And so do you, for the next fight, we can just go through the main card since we talked about Kelvin and
Yeah.
Nasruddin. The next fight was is Mackenzie Dern, Torres. I kind of feel Mackenzie Dern, she's really fun to watch because I'm always interested to see like, okay, dude, I feel so, I feel so sexist because the two girl fights we talked about were just like, oh yeah, she's hot, and I try to stay away from that. But yeah, she's bad.
Yeah.
She's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that she is born in the USA. She had an American accent, and now she's got a Brazilian accent. Super confusing. I don't know what she did to herself there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like amazing, like world class jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Probably take out she could probably take out a bunch of guys with her jiu-jitsu too. It's really fun to see her, scramble.
Yeah. I don't really follow female fighters that much, but when I was like reading through her, I heard she was an up and coming prospect. She had a lot of submission wins going on, and I know I think she's coming off a loss. So I think I'd like to see her win and face, and I really want title challenges for Valentina Shevchenko. Is she in the same division as Alexa Grasso and Valentina?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'd like to see her win. And
no. Mackenzie's a strawweight. What am I talking about?
Okay, then Mackenzie, and then Alexa is what, 105?
Alexa she went up to flyweight. Alexa Grasso. That was her first fight in flyweight. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that
go ahead.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is I want more female contenders. That's what I'm saying. I want Mackenzie to win. I want more prospects in the female division, just so we can like enjoy it as much as we do in the male division.
Guys, when Umer's saying that he doesn't really follow on like many female fighters, he's really saying that the talent pool of female fighters compared to male fighters and the skills that we see is not as deep as the male fighters. So we just want to see the women's division grow. And it's really great seeing these fighters now that fighters like, obviously Juliana Pena, Amanda, Rose, Zhang Wei Li, Valentina, most definitely. Valentina is probably pioneer of women's MMA. Like, you love to see the Valentina fight. But we just can't wait to see the division grow and see some insane fighters come out of there. But let's talk about the fight next that we are probably most excited about, where Khamzat Bors, the Wolf, kill everybody, smash everybody, Chimaev against Gilbert Durinho Porra Burns.
Cannot wait for that fight. I cannot wait for that fight.
That's going to be a fight. That's going to be a banger.
That is the people's main event. That's
the people's main event. The people's main event.
I cannot wait for this fight, man. Dude, I think it's gonna be a flush knockout by Khamzat in the first round. Both of these guys have punching power. Both of them can grapple.
We both saw they had power, right? We saw Burns rock Usman in the first round, and that's really what was. I think had Burns composed himself, fought his fight, I think we would have really seen a better fight between him and Usman. But Burns swarmed on him in the first round and really gassed himself out, I think, and just put too much pressure on. But with Khamzat, we really haven't seen, it's crazy to think. I don't think we've seen him go into deep waters or, be pressured. We haven't seen him in trouble, so we don't know how he reacts to it.
We haven't seen him in the late rounds yet. We haven't seen him in the third round. We're not sure if he's just a fast starter like Conor or if he has good cardio like Max Holloway. That's the only part we haven't seen.
If we're seeing the Gilbert Burns that we all seen, the Gilbert Burns that's only lost to Usman in the welterweight division, beat a bunch of great guys, just beat Stephen Thompson. If we see Gilbert Burns, the one that that killer who just will, just a just a gorilla in the ring. I think it's going to be an insane fight against Khamzat. And I don't know. I really want to see Khamzat's wrestling against Gilbert's jiu-jitsu. I think I want to see that even more than their striking battles, because we know, like, striking, you can see, it's going to be punch, 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 punch. But this wrestling against, because it's world class, we could even say Khamzat is world class wrestling because we've heard so much about what different fighters say about Khamzat. But we know that Gilbert is world class in jiu-jitsu, world class on the ground. So I can't even speak. I can't even articulate words trying to talk about the fight because I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think, dude, Gilbert hired 2 Russian wrestlers to train with him just for Khamzat Chimaev. He knows how big of a risk this fight is. I think one game plan we might see from Gilbert is, I think he's gonna start out fighting defensively in the first and second, and then
I can easily see him playing it safe. I agree.
Yeah,
I could see him playing it safe.
Go all out in the third, because maybe there's a chance that Khamzat's cardio might be bad. It's so mysterious because we've never seen
I don't think
Khamzat
so,
in the third
dude.
round.
I don't think so. Because I was watching some videos of Khamzat and Dern, and they talk about them training, and Dern will be like, we'll get into that training, and I'm freaking tired. Like, he's like, I'm so gassed, and I look at Khamzat, and he's just nonstop. They say he's nonstop. His cardio is probably off the charts, I think. I think I wish this was a 5-round fight. I wish the UFC had made this a 5-round fight, with them doing it so often. They did it with, the Leon and the Nate Diaz fight. I kind of want to see them bring in more, kind of co-main 5-rounders, because I think this fight deserves to be a 5-rounder. Obviously, on any other fight night, this would be a main event without a doubt.
Yeah. But yeah, do you think there's a chance that Gilbert could beat Khamzat? Do you think there's any chance?
There's always a chance. There's always a chance. It's MMA. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night, and there's a definite chance. I don't know how Gilbert beats Khamzat. I think the only way Gilbert beats Khamzat, because I don't think Khamzat will ever tap out to a submission, I think Gilbert has to put him to sleep, or like break a limb of a Khamzat or something for Khamzat to lose.
Dude, I think the only way Gilbert can win is by puncher's chance. I think he's got to look for a lucky knockout, because Khamzat is so good at everything that, I don't know. I think he should try to do what Pettis did to Wonderboy and just find that fluke knockout.
And Darren also confirmed. Darren Till confirmed that he will be in the corner of Khamzat. Yeah. That's going to be cool to see.
Their bromance was like something nobody expected. It was like,
and it's like they're inseparable now. They're really inseparable.
They're a married
couple. But with
couple
Burns,
now.
he can swarm on you. But we saw, with Usman, Usman weather the storm. And then for Burns to win, against Stephen Thompson, obviously Burns was very, grapple on that, because you can't take risks with Stephen Thompson. He can catch you with something that you won't even see. He can catch you with something you won't even see, and all of a sudden you're asleep. Yeah. So that's going to be a really fun fight. Should we go right into Aljo versus Piotr?
Oh, yeah. That's a fight I'm really excited for, too.
Next fight, our co-main event.
Yeah, it's like, it's crazy that I'm going through the MMA community on MMA Twitter, and everyone's sleeping on Aljo. Like, oh, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Petr Yan beat him in the last fight. He's never going to win. But, guys, before Aljo fought Petr Yan, Aljo was the most deserving guy to fight Petr Yan.
Before the Petr Yan fight, Aljo was the consensus #1 contender, and everybody was going, Aljo deserves that title shot. Give Aljo that title shot.
He was the most deserving guy. He was the most dangerous grappler. This guy submitted Corey Sandhagen. He did what TJ Dillashaw and Petr Yan couldn't. Dude, Aljamain is a dangerous opponent. It's not like Petr Yan's going to wipe the floor with him. Dude, I can see Aljo winning it. And now that Petr doesn't even have his corner anymore, I feel like there's a better chance. I feel like this fight could end in a decision by either man. It could end by controversial decision.
I also agree, but I also think that it's crazy to say, but every single time I've seen Petr fight, I see a better version of him. He just gets better and better and better every single time I see him fight. Because the Sanhagen-Jan fight was high, like as high level of MMA as you can get, like high level. That was so fun to watch. And I think we saw a better version of Corey that fought Jan than fought Aljo. Needless to say, Aljo did his thing, submitted him in a minute, monkey on the back. But my goodness, Piotr Jan is probably one of the most complete fighters in the whole roster.
What I like about Peter Yan's fighting style is as the rounds go on, most fighters, they get weaker and weaker. But Peter Yan, he gets stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see. It's like he goes from regular mode to Super Saiyan 2. He gets stronger and stronger, and I think that drains the confidence of his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh my God, what do I do? We saw this with his fight with Corey Sandhagen, Sterling, and Jose Aldo. I love his fighting style. It's so exciting to watch. I love the boxing fighting style.
Yeah, I love his. He's like the most. Yeah, I like I just said, he's the most complete fighter I think in the UFC, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them running back.
And an interesting about Peter Yan is most UFC champions, they either come from a jiu-jitsu, wrestling, or kickboxing background. But Peter Yan, those three aren't his backgrounds. He comes from a boxing background, and it's really rare to see a UFC champion with a boxing background nowadays. So I just want to say that I really like that, having a boxing
it's really
impressive.
It's even more impressive. It's even more impressive that he's champ with a boxing background.
Yeah, because that's probably one of the hardest transitions to MMA if you have a boxing background, and if you had kickboxing or grappling.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now let's go into the main event. The main event, we got a big one, a slobber knocker, as JR would say from WWE. We got Korean Zombie and Volk. Now, my first thought of the fight was, okay, we saw what Bryan did to Zombie. We saw what Volk did to Bryan. Like, in theory, you think Volk's probably going to win this, very easily. But with Zombie, I don't know. It's just Zombie is a really fun fighter to watch, and very exciting. But I don't know if Zombie's skill sets are enough to beat Volk. I don't know what skill sets can beat Volk.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think Volkanovski might beat Zombie. Because, if I'm going to, I was doing, the MMA math says Ortega dominated Zombie and Volkanovski dominated Ortega. I think, I don't think Zombie really has a chance against Volkanovski. I think he just has the puncher's chance like Gilbert does with Chimaev, except a better chance. And I think Zombie might have a better chance at this is because, he's training with Henry Cejudo's gym, and I just think there's really something special about Henry Cejudo's gym. If Zombie beats Volkanovski, I think that might be because he's training with Henry Cejudo, and that's gonna make Cejudo as the coach look good, even maybe better than Khabib.
Yeah, I think Zombie's bounce back fight when he fought Dan Ige and he won, I thought that was really good because Dan Ige is one of my favorite fighters in the division, and the featherweight division is so deep, and so even with but I think. If Zombie loses this fight, it's either we're gonna see Max Volk 3, or I think don't call me crazy, but I think Josh Emmett is the guy that beats Volkanovski.
I agree with you. Josh Emmett has I believe he's the hardest hitter in the featherweight division.
Dude is a truck. He's a tank. He's just chest and everything. The dude's huge.
Dude, that guy has explosive power. He holds the record where in every fight he knocked down his opponent in every single fight, win or loss. And that's really crazy. I think Josh Emmett is the most dangerous opponent for Volkanovski. And one other thing I want to say is you said you think Zombie looked good against Dan Ige. I actually felt like he
It was
looked pretty
real
bad.
close. It was real close.
I thought Zombie looked bad in that fight because it wasn't the Zombie we always saw where he was finishing the guy and he wasn't taking him down. I feel like
But that's the thing. I think Dan is that good. I think Dan is that good of a fighter where he made it so tough on Zombie, and it was just.
So?
I think he had to point it out. You know, he had to win by points because I think Dan Ige is just that good. It's just that Dan is in a division where there's insane amount of like insane fighters. Like, do I think like 10 times out of 10, a lot of these fighters will beat each other, you know, 10 out of 10 fights out of 10, we'll see all these different wins, all these different finishes. And I think in the top 10, every single fighter in the top 10 of the featherweights is capable of beating, you know, 10-1, 1-10. I think on any given day.
Yeah. I agree with you. The featherweight division's full of pillars. I think for Volkanovski, like out of all his title defenses, I think Zombie might be the worst fighter out of all of them. Like that's something we can
and that's
agree
tough
with,
to
right?
say. That's hard to say, right?
Yeah.
And it's like we've seen Volkanovski. He stood the test of Max striking. He stood the test of Ortega's grappling. So it's like, what else is there that he's afraid of? You know?
True.
A Korean Zombie, maybe.
It could be, yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for that fight. I think it's going to be an exciting fight.
It's so interesting. 273 is going to be so crazy, I think.
Dude,
and imagine we see two new champions, or really it's not a new champion, but just Aljo cementing him as champion. It's like, okay, now we all know. If Korean Zombie beats Volkanovski, I would absolutely love to see that because, you know, big fan of Korean Zombie. He doesn't have that many fights left in him. I think he's 35 or 36 now. It's kind of, you know, his last ride. And because I don't think he can beat the other top 3, top 4, top 5 contenders.
Yeah, I agree too. Dude, for Volkanovski, I think Volkanovski has to get a finish because he's had I believe 3 title wins.
A lot of decision wins, and they're all decisions.
All ending by decision. So I think he has to get a finish if he wants people taking him seriously, if he wants the Holloway fans to take him seriously, if he wants the UFC to take him seriously. Like, he needs to finish badly because he can't just keep outpointing them. Yeah. I'm
going to look up when was the last time he finished somebody. Actually, Volkanovski Chad Mendes. Volkanovski is on a 4-fight decision win streak. And the last guy and I mean, so the Chad Mendes thing, that really doesn't hold that much substance because Chad's bare knuckle fighting now. Chad's bare knuckle fighting. That win came in 2018 when Chad was on the tail end of his career. And really, he hasn't finished anybody that we really know in the UFC.
Yeah, he only has 3 knockouts out of like 7.
Besides Chad,
wins.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, he's known as a point striker. He's gotta get fans to take him seriously like people do with Usman. He's gotta get the finish. I think he's really hunting for a finish. Like Arnold Allen was against Hooker.
I agree because we saw in the first fight with Max where really it's crazy to think that Volkanovski won that fight strictly off leg kicks, and then, you know, not advancing position, but like octagon control. You know, that's one of the things that judges take into account. And then with the second fight, I don't even want, like, okay, we both think that Max won the second fight.
Actually, no, I think Volkanovski won the fight. I thought he won the 3rd round, and 3rd round was the biggest factor. I got Volkanovski.
It's close.
That.
I think I know Volk won, obviously, and Volk did win. Most people's arguments, and also I guess my argument is, you know, Max. But what's annoying is Max had those 2 drops, those 2 knockdowns towards the end of, was it the first round or the second round? He had 2 knockdowns.
In the first, and
he had 2 knockdowns in back-to-back rounds. Yeah, 2 knockdowns in back-to-back rounds. And so other than that, like because for me, that was the most exciting part about the fight. There wasn't really much exciting stuff that happened after.
I think because that happened, I think because of those 2 knockdowns, everyone immediately thought Max won. But if you really look at the statistics, Volkanovski landed more strikes than Max Holloway. I don't think it's by who has more knockdowns. I think it's by who has more strikes landed and more significant strikes. And Volkanovski, he had more leg kicks, more jabs. Boy, the city kickboxers love leg kicks. I don't know what's with them and leg kicks, but they love it. So
it's UFC in the leg kicks, man. UFC's leg kicks are taking over MMA. They're taking over. They're coming for everybody. We don't care who you are. Conor McGregor, leg kicks are coming for you.
For sure.
But Max has definitely proven that he is still, without a doubt, in that featherweight division, he's without a doubt the number 1 contender. Still the number 1 contender, because I was really nervous about the Yair fight, because Yair is just you don't know what he's going to do in the fight. When Yair fights, you really don't know what's going to happen. And for Max to squeak that win out, because it was unanimous, but Yair was putting it on him. You know, he was more It was more dangerous. I think Yair put more damage on him than the Calvin fight, and I feel like Yair put more damage on him than the Volks fight.
Yeah, Yair was a very dangerous guy. Especially in the 4th and 5th round, he was going for all kinds of kicks.
He was going for all kinds of stuff. And this just shows how high level Max's fighting is. And I really think this 3rd Volkanovski fight with Max, if Volkanovski wins, would be probably one of the biggest fights of the featherweight division.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Max has pretty much cleared out the division, I guess, besides these newcomers. You know, Max is going to have to fight these guys again. He's going to have to fight Yair again. He's going to have to fight Calvin again. They're all coming back up. And so there's a couple people left for Volkanovski. But, man, this card is just going to have so many potential crazy outcomes. If we see – and, you know, I think if I'm Usman, I'm biting my nails, because if Khamzat beats Burns – everybody is pushing for a title shot.
I want to add on to that. Usman's actually training Gilbert Burns like right now.
He's like, you better beat his ass. You better be. I'm not trying to see this dude.
He's actually coaching him in Sanford MMA. It's so funny. Yeah.
Well, gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for watching the podcast.
We really appreciate everybody who's watched. And as you can tell, me and Umer, we love talking about UFC. We wanted to do like a 30-minute, just a short one today. But as you can see, it ended up going.
We always go long.
Yeah, we always go long.
Guys,
but
thank you for watching this. Subscribe. We're going to come up for more. We're going to make the podcast better. And we'll see you next time.